Welcome to HOA Neighbor Court. This one escalated fast in the snow. She is screaming at me in my own driveway, her breath coming out in white clouds, and all I can think is that I have to be at work in 4 hours, and my car is blocked by a plow berm the size of a refrigerator. The woman in front of me is Sharon Moore, Gate Access Administrator for the Riverbend Freeze Line Village Association, and she is holding a foam clipboard pad so her pen works in the cold. She taps it twice. "Smile. I am documenting this for the file," she says, her voice sharp enough to cut through the wind. "You pushed snow onto HOA common property, and that is a $5,000 fine plus removal costs." I stare at the berm. The city plow left it here 6 hours ago. I did not push anything. I shoveled my driveway onto my own lawn. The excess is sitting right there on my property line. She shakes her head. That snowbank extends past your property marker into the drainage easement, which the association maintains. You violated Section 12-4 of the Winter Maintenance Addendum. I pull my phone out. "What Winter Maintenance Addendum?" She smiles. "The one we posted to the portal 3 weeks ago. You are responsible for checking daily." I open the portal app. There is no addendum. She tilts her head. "Then you missed the email notification. Either way, ignorance is not an excuse. The fine stands, and if you do not remove the snow by noon, we will hire a contractor and bill you double. I work as a Veterans Affairs Benefits Counselor. I live by paperwork. I know when someone is making up rules on the spot." I take a breath. "Show me the addendum. Print it out or forward it to me right now." She taps her clipboard again. "I do not have to provide you with documents you already have access to. That is your responsibility." The wind picks up. My driveway has to be accessible for an early shift, and a plow berm could trap my car. I cannot afford to get towed or fined because she decided the city snowplow violated an imaginary rule. I take a step back. If there is a real rule, then I need proof. "Forward me the email or show me the section in the bylaws." She pulls out her phone, taps the screen a few times, then turns it toward me. The screen shows a blurry photo of a printed page with text too small to read. "That is your copy," she says. "I do not have time to hold your hand through compliance. I can put you on the agenda and keep you there. You will be dealing with this for months." My stomach tightens. That line is a threat, and she knows it. I let her talk, because every word is helping me. I snap a photo of her holding the phone, then another of the snowbank with my property marker visible in the frame. She notices. "What are you doing?" "Documenting," I say. "Same as you." Her face flushes. "You do not have permission to photograph me." I lower the phone. "We are standing on my property in a public confrontation you initiated. I am allowed to document." She takes a step forward. "You are in violation, and if you keep antagonizing me, I will escalate this to the board tonight." They meet in 2 hours. I pull my jacket tighter. "Fine. Put me on the agenda. I will be there." She smiles again, colder this time. "You will need to submit a written request 48 hours in advance." That deadline passed yesterday. I feel the anger rising, but I push it down. "So I cannot attend the meeting about my own fine?" She shrugs. "You can attend as a guest, but you cannot speak unless you are on the agenda. And since you missed the deadline, you will have to wait until next month. By then, the fines will have compounded, and we will have already initiated collections." She turns and walks back toward the street. "I will send the formal notice by end of day," she calls over her shoulder. "You have until noon tomorrow to clear the snow, or we proceed with contractor removal and a lien on your property. The gate access code will be suspended until the fine is paid in full." I watch her get into a white SUV with an HOA parking placard on the dash. She drives away slowly, like she owns the block. I stand there for a minute, letting the cold sink in. Milwaukee winter is brutal this year. The kind where your breath freezes in your nose and the streets stay slick for weeks. Riverbend Freezeline Village is one of those neighborhoods where curb appeal matters more than reality, where every driveway has to look perfect, even if the city plow just dumped half a ton of ice on it. I moved here 8 months ago because the rent was reasonable and the location worked for my commute. The HOA seemed normal at first, quiet. Then Sharon Moore got elected to the Gate Access Board, and suddenly every violation became a personal crusade. I pull out my phone and call my buddy Marcus, the neighborhood security guard who patrols the main entrance. He picks up on the second ring. What did she do now? I give him the rundown. He sighs. She has been pulling this on everyone. Last week she tried to fine someone for running a space heater in their garage. Said it was a fire code violation. The fire marshal laughed her out of the office. I ask if he has seen the winter maintenance addendum. He pauses. There is no addendum. The board voted it down in November because it was too vague. Sharon posted a draft to the portal anyway and has been enforcing it like it is real. That is fraud, I say. He agrees. But nobody has called her on it yet because she controls the gate codes and the tow vendor contract. People are scared she will lock them out or tow their cars in the middle of the night. I thank him and hang up. The wind picks up again. I look at the snowbank. It is sitting entirely on my property. The drainage easement she mentioned does not even extend to my driveway. I checked the plat map when I moved in. She is lying, and she is counting on me not having proof. I go inside and pull up the HOA portal on my laptop. The winter maintenance addendum is not there. I check my email. No notification. I scroll back 3 weeks. Nothing. I download the entire email archive and search for any mention of snow removal or winter policy updates. 0 results. She made it up. I screenshot everything, then pull up the county property records and download my plat map. The drainage easement stops 6 feet short of my driveway. I screenshot that too. Then I check the HOA bylaws. Section 12-4 does not exist. The bylaws only go up to Section 11. I screenshot the table of contents. My phone buzzes. It is an email from Sharon. The subject line is violation notice in all caps, which is funny because she is not supposed to use all caps in official HOA correspondence according to the tone guidelines the board adopted last year. I open it. The body is a 2-paragraph demand for $5,000, due within 72 hours, with a threat to place a lien on my property and suspend my gate access if I do not comply. The attachment is a blurry photo of my driveway with a red circle drawn around the snowbank. No citation, no policy reference, no appeal instructions. I forward the email to Marcus with a note. This is what she sent. He replies 10 seconds later. That is not a real notice. It does not even have the association letterhead. You need to respond in writing and demand a formal hearing. Cite the bylaws. I draft a response, keeping it short and factual. I state that I have no record of the alleged policy, that my snowbank is entirely on my property, and that I am requesting a formal hearing under Article 7 of the bylaws. I attach the plat map and the email archive screenshots. I hit send. 2 minutes later, my phone rings. It is Sharon. You do not get to make demands, she says, her voice tight. You are in violation, and the fine is already assessed. If you want to dispute it, you can submit a written appeal, but that does not stop the collections process. I ask when the appeal deadline is. She pauses. You had to submit it within 24 hours of the initial notice. That expired this morning. I checked the timestamp on her email. It was sent 40 minutes ago. I point that out. She hangs up. I sit back and stare at the screen. She is claiming I missed deadlines that never existed, blaming a portal that never had the document, and threatening collections even though the fees are disputed and under appeal. This is the HOA method she has perfected, the one Marcus warned me about. She manufactures violations, invents deadlines, and then uses the gate codes and tow vendor as leverage to force compliance. Most people pay because they cannot afford to fight. But I am supporting family back home, sending money every month to cover medical bills and rent. I cannot afford surprise fees or a tow bill, and I definitely cannot afford a lien on my property. I need this resolved fast, and I need it resolved in a way that stops her from doing this to anyone else. I open a new document and start building a timeline. Every email, every phone call, every threat. I include timestamps, screenshots, and cross-references to the bylaws. It takes me an hour. By the time I finish, I have a 10-page packet that shows a clear pattern of abuse. I save it, print 2 copies, and put one in a binder with tabs. Then I call the HOA management company. The receptionist transfers me to the compliance officer, a guy named David who sounds like he has heard this story before. Sharon Moore, he says, half question, half sigh. I walk him through the snow violation. He listens, then tells me Sharon has been operating outside her authority for months. The board knows, but they have not acted because she controls the gate vendor contract and the security patrol budget. If they push back, she threatens to quit and take the vendor relationships with her, which would leave the neighborhood without gate access for weeks. If you are enjoying this story, please hit the like button and subscribe for more HOA nightmares. David suggests I attend the board meeting tonight and present my evidence during the open comment period. I remind him Sharon said I could not speak without being on the agenda. He swears under his breath. That is not true. Any resident can speak during open comment. She has been telling people that to keep them quiet. He gives me the meeting time and location, then adds one more thing. Bring witnesses if you can. The board responds better when it is not just one person complaining. I text Marcus and ask if he can attend. He says yes. Then I text my neighbor across the street, a woman named Angela who got fined $300 last month for parking her car in her own driveway overnight. Sharon claimed it violated the guest parking policy, even though Angela is not a guest. Angela texts back immediately, I will be there. Bring copies of whatever you have. I want to submit my own complaint. I spend the next 2 hours prepping. I print extra copies of my timeline, highlight the key sections, and draft a 1-page summary for the board. Then I check the weather. Snow is forecast for tonight, another 4 inches on top of what we already have. The plow will come through again, which means another berm. I take photos of my current driveway from every angle, then measure the distance from the snowbank to the property line. It is 3 feet inside my lot. I document everything. At 6:30, I drive to the HOA clubhouse. It is a squat brick building near the main gate with a meeting room that holds about 30 people. I park in the visitor lot and walk in. The room is already half full. I recognize a few faces, mostly neighbors who have been on the receiving end of Sharon violations. Marcus is standing near the back. Angela is sitting in the second row with a folder on her lap. Sharon is at the front table with 3 other board members, her foam clipboard pad resting in front of her like a gavel. She sees me and her expression tightens. She leans over and whispers something to the board president, a man in his 60s named Tom. He nods, then picks up a microphone. Good evening, everyone, he says. Before we begin, I want to remind everyone that only residents on the pre-submitted agenda may address the board during the meeting. If you wish to speak, you need to submit a written request 48 hours in advance. Marcus raises his hand. That is not what the bylaws say. Tom looks annoyed. Excuse me? Marcus stands. Article 9, Section 3. Any resident may speak during the open comment period without prior notice, as long as they stay within the 3-minute time limit. The room goes quiet. Tom looks at Sharon. She shrugs. We updated the procedures last month. Marcus pulls out his phone. No, you did not. I checked the board minutes. There is no record of a vote. Tom clears his throat. We will table this discussion for now. Let us move on to the agenda. First item, snow removal compliance. Sharon sits up straighter. She pulls a stack of papers from her bag and spreads them on the table. We have documented 15 violations in the past week, she says. Residents are pushing snow onto common property, creating drainage hazards and aesthetic issues. We need to authorize contractor removal and assess fines to cover the costs. Tom asks how much. Sharon flips a page. Approximately $40,000 total, split across the violators. Angela stands up. I want to see the list. Sharon frowns. That is confidential. Angela does not sit down. If you are fining residents, we have a right to know who and why. Tom looks uncomfortable. Sharon, can we share the list? Sharon shakes her head. These are active enforcement cases. Sharing details would compromise the process. I stand up. That is not how enforcement works. Under Article 7, any resident subject to a fine has the right to review the complaint, the evidence, and the applicable rule. You cannot keep it confidential. Sharon turns to face me. You are not on the agenda. Sit down. I stay standing. I am exercising my right to open comment under Article 9, Section 3. You cannot stop me. Tom raises a hand. Let him speak. Sharon glares at him, but she does not argue. I walk to the front and hand Tom a copy of my timeline. I keep one for myself and give the rest to Angela to pass around. I also brought copies for anyone who wants them. I start with the facts. On January 14th at 7:30 in the morning, Sharon Moore approached me in my driveway and accused me of pushing snow onto HOA property. She claimed I violated a winter maintenance addendum that was posted to the portal 3 weeks prior. I checked the portal. There is no addendum. I checked my email. No notification. I requested a copy of the policy. She refused. I requested a formal hearing. She claimed I missed a deadline that did not exist. Then she sent an email threatening a $5,000 fine and a lien on my property, with no citation, no appeal instructions, and no formal notice format. I hold up the email. This is what she sent. It does not comply with Article 7. It does not reference a real policy, and the snow in question is entirely on my property, not on HOA land. I verified that with the county plat map, which I have included in the packet. I pause. Sharon is staring at her clipboard, her jaw tight. Tom is reading the timeline. The other board members are whispering to each other. I continue. This is not an isolated incident. Sharon has been inventing violations, threatening residents with fake deadlines, and using gate access as leverage to force compliance. Marcus can confirm that. So can Angela. So can at least a dozen other people in this room. Marcus stands. She told me last week that the board authorized her to suspend gate codes for any resident with an open violation. I checked the minutes. There is no such authorization. Angela stands. She fined me $300 for parking in my own driveway. She said it was a guest parking violation. I live here. I am not a guest. Another resident stands. She tried to charge me for snow removal after the city plow blocked my driveway. I did not even touch the snow. She said I was responsible for clearing it within 6 hours or she would hire a contractor. Tom sets the timeline down. Sharon, is this true? Sharon looks up. These residents are exaggerating. Every violation I have documented is legitimate and supported by the rules. I step forward. Then show us the rules. Right now. Print them out or pull them up on your phone. Prove the winter maintenance addendum exists. She does not move. Tom repeats the question. Sharon, do you have a copy of the addendum? She shakes her head. It was uploaded to the portal. If they did not see it, that is their problem. I pull out my phone and open the portal in front of the board. There is no addendum in the documents section. There is no addendum in the announcements. There is no addendum anywhere. I have screenshots going back 4 months. It does not exist. Sharon stands up. You are calling me a liar. I meet her eyes. I am saying you are enforcing a rule that was never approved, never posted, and never communicated. That is fraud. The room erupts. People are shouting questions, demanding refunds, threatening to lawyer up. Tom bangs his hand on the table. Everyone calm down. We need to address this systematically. Sharon, I am suspending all snow removal fines pending a full review. We will reconvene in 2 weeks with a formal compliance audit. Sharon turns to him. You do not have the authority to do that. Tom looks at the other board members. They nod. Yes, I do. This is an emergency action under Article 10. Your enforcement privileges are suspended until we resolve these complaints. Sharon grabs her clipboard in her bag. Fine. But when this blows over, you are all going to regret siding with a bunch of entitled residents who think the rules do not apply to them. She storms out. The door slams behind her. The room goes quiet. Tom exhales. I apologize to everyone who has been affected by this. We will issue refunds for any fines that were improperly assessed, and we will review every enforcement action Sharon has taken in the past 6 months. If anyone has additional evidence, please submit it to the management company by the end of the week. I sit down. Angela leans over. That was amazing. I shake my head. It is not over. Sharon still controls the gate vendor contract and the tow list. Until the board severs that relationship, she can still cause damage. Marcus nods. He is right. She has been known to retaliate. You need to be ready for round 2. The next morning, I wake up to my phone buzzing. It is a text from Marcus. Check your driveway. I pull on my jacket and go outside. My car is gone. There is a tow notice zip tied to my mailbox. The notice claims my vehicle was parked illegally in a fire lane and has been impounded at my expense. The fee is $900 plus daily storage. I call the tow company. The dispatcher tells me the order came from the HOA gate administrator and that I need to pay in full before they will release the vehicle. I call Marcus. He drives over in 10 minutes. We stand in my driveway, looking at the empty space. This is retaliation, he says. Your car was not in a fire lane. It was in your own driveway. I take a photo of the tow notice and the empty driveway, then call the management company. David picks up. She towed your car? I tell him yes. He swears. That is illegal. The board suspended her enforcement authority last night. She does not have the right to order a tow. I ask what I should do. He says to file a police report for wrongful towing, then dispute the fee with the tow company. If they refuse to release the car, get a lawyer. I call the non-emergency line. The officer who takes the report sounds skeptical at first, but when I send him the board meeting minutes and the suspension notice, his tone changes. This is a civil matter, but if she is acting without authority, you may have grounds for a theft complaint. I will flag this for follow-up. He gives me a case number and tells me to document everything. I thank him and hang up. Then I call a lawyer, a guy named Paul who specializes in HOA disputes. He listens to the story and whistles. You have a strong case. Wrongful towing, harassment, fraud. If the board does not fire her, you can sue the association and her personally. He quotes me a retainer fee. I swallow hard. It is expensive, but I do not have a choice. I agree to the terms. Paul sends me a demand letter template. I fill it out, attaching the timeline, the plat map, the tow notice, and the board suspension order. I send it to the HOA management company, the board president, and Sharon directly. The subject line is Notice OF Intent to OSUE. The body is 3 paragraphs. I demand immediate release of my vehicle, reimbursement of all towing fees, a formal apology, and Sharon removal from any enforcement role. I give them 72 hours to respond. Paul files a copy with the county clerk as proof of notice. 20 minutes later, my phone rings. It is Tom. I just read your letter. I am so sorry. The board is meeting tonight, an emergency session, to terminate Sharon's contract and remove her from the gate access role. We will cover your towing fees and issue a formal apology. Please do not sue us. I tell him I will consider it, but I want to see the board vote in writing before I agree to anything. He promises to send the minutes as soon as the meeting ends. That night, I do not attend the meeting. I stay home and wait for the email. It comes at 9:15. The subject line is Emergency Board Vote Results. I open it. The body is a 2-page summary. Sharon Moore has been removed from all enforcement roles effective immediately. Her gate access privileges have been revoked. The board has terminated the vendor contract she controlled and is negotiating a new agreement with a different tow company. All fines issued in the past 6 months are under review, and refunds will be processed within 30 days. The board is also adopting an enforcement checklist that requires documented proof and 2 board member approvals before any tow can be ordered. I forward the email to Paul. He replies with a thumbs up. That is a win. Let me know if they follow through. I lean back in my chair. The tow company calls an hour later. They are releasing my car with no fee. Sharon authorization has been rescinded, and they are issuing a full refund for the impound. I can pick up the vehicle tomorrow morning. I thank them and hang up. The next day, Marcus drives me to the impound lot. My car is sitting in the back row, covered in snow. The clerk hands me a tow release receipt and a sleeve and apologizes for the inconvenience. I take the receipt and walk out to the car. Marcus helps me brush off the snow. You did it, he says. You actually beat her. I shake my head. Not yet. She still has not been held accountable for the fraud. The board fired her, but that does not mean she faces consequences. Marcus frowns. What are you going to do? I tell him I am filing a formal complaint with the county HOA ombudsman and requesting a state investigation into her enforcement practices. If she did this to me, she did it to other people in other neighborhoods. She needs to be on record. I spend the weekend drafting the complaint. I include every document, every screenshot, every witness statement. I attach the board meeting minutes, the suspension order, and the demand letter. I send it to the ombudsman office with a cover letter explaining the pattern of abuse. 3 days later, I get a response. They are opening an investigation. They want to interview me, Marcus, Angela, and anyone else who has been affected. I forward the email to the group chat Angela started. Within an hour, 12 people have volunteered to give statements. The investigation takes 2 weeks. In that time, Sharon posts cropped screenshots to the neighborhood group chat, trying to frame me as a troublemaker who is harassing her. The group chat believes the crop at first, but Angela and Marcus start posting the full context. The screenshots I took, the timeline, the board minutes. The narrative flips. People start asking why Sharon was allowed to operate unchecked for so long. The board president posts a public apology and promises additional reforms. The ombudsman office schedules a hearing. Sharon is required to attend. I show up with Paul, Marcus, Angela, and 6 other residents. Sharon arrives with her own lawyer, a woman who looks like she has already heard the story and is not thrilled to be there. The hearing officer is a state official named Karen, which is darkly funny. She reviews the evidence for an hour, asking questions, cross-referencing documents. Then she looks at Sharon. Do you dispute any of the facts as presented? Sharon's lawyer leans over and whispers something. Sharon shakes her head. No, but I was acting in good faith based on my understanding of the rules. The hearing officer flips a page. Your understanding was incorrect. You enforced policies that were never approved, threatened residents with fake deadlines, and ordered a wrongful TOW after your authority was suspended. That is not good faith. That is misconduct. She turns to the board president. I am recommending the association adopt a formal enforcement policy with oversight and appeals. I am also recommending Sharon Moore be permanently barred from holding any HOA enforcement role in this county. Tom nods. We agree. Sharon stands up. You cannot do that. The hearing officer does not look up. Yes, I can. This is a state-level finding. If you appeal, it goes to circuit court, and I do not think you want that. Sharon sits back down. Her lawyer closes her folder. The hearing officer continues. I am also ordering the association to issue formal apologies and refunds to every resident affected by your enforcement actions. The total cost will be audited and included in the final report. If the association fails to comply, they will lose their state registration and face penalties. The hearing ends 10 minutes later. Sharon walks out without looking at anyone. Her lawyer lingers to talk to Tom. I hear her say something about liability insurance. Outside, Angela hugs me. You did it. You actually did it. I shake my head. We did it. If you and Marcus had not backed me up, the board would have buried this. Marcus claps me on the shoulder. She is done. She cannot pull this on anyone else. I hope so. Paul hands me a business card. If you ever need anything else, call me. This was the most satisfying case I have worked in years. I thank him and get in my car. The drive home is quiet. The snow has stopped, and the streets are clear. I pull into my driveway. The plow berm is gone. Someone from the HOA sent a contractor to remove it. No charge. There is a handwritten note taped to my mailbox. It is from Tom. Thank you for holding us accountable. We should have acted sooner. I am sorry for what you went through. I fold the note and go inside. 2 weeks later, the board holds another meeting. This time, it is to vote on the new enforcement policy. I attend, along with Angela, Marcus, and most of the people who gave statements at the hearing. The policy is everything we asked for. Documented proof required. 2 board approvals before any fine. Written notice with appeal instructions. A third-party review process for disputes. No retaliation clause. The board votes unanimously to adopt it. The room applauds. After the meeting, a neighbor I have never met walks up to me. I heard what you did, he says. Sharon tried to fine me last year for running a portable space heater in my garage while I work. She called it a fire code issue. I paid the fine because I did not think I could fight it. I wish I had known you were building a case. I would have helped. I tell him it is not too late. The board is reviewing all of Sharon enforcement actions. If he wants a refund, he should submit a complaint. He nods. I will. Thank you. That night, I sit at my kitchen table with the tabbed binder open in front of me. Inside is every document, every email, every piece of evidence I collected. The public records response showing Sharon prior complaints against her for the same behavior. The invoice trail showing kickbacks tied to the snow contractor. The portal audit showing the violation entry was edited after I disputed it. I had been holding this back, waiting for the right moment. The hearing was that moment. I submitted the packet to the HOA attorney and watched the tone change instantly. Sharon could not spin it. The board adopted an enforcement checklist that limits Karen tactics. A neighbor petition forced a vote during the meeting. Sharon was told to step down, and she could not spin it. The funny karma moment came at the end of the hearing. The hearing officer asked Sharon if she wanted to dispute the findings. Sharon tried to flex authority, pulling out her foam clipboard and demanding proof that the policies she enforced were not valid. The hearing officer smiled and handed her a printed copy of the board minutes from November. The minutes showed the board had explicitly voted down Sharon's proposed winter maintenance addendum. Sharon had been enforcing a policy the board rejected. Her own documentation proved she was wrong. She sat down and did not say another word. I closed the binder. The enforcement checklist is now part of the HOA governing documents. No one can order a tow or issue a fine without 2 board approvals and documented proof. Sharon is banned from holding any enforcement rule in the county. The association issued formal apologies and refunds to everyone she targeted. My driveway is clear. My car is in the garage. My gate code works. I am supporting my family back home without the weight of surprise fees hanging over me. The neighborhood feels different now. People are not afraid to push back. The board is actually following the rules. I get up and walk to the window. The snow is falling again, soft and steady. The plow will come through tonight and leave another berm. But this time, I know exactly what my rights are. I know the rules. I know the process. And if anyone tries to pull what Sharon pulled, I have a binder full of proof that says they cannot. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next one.